In the first video that I made, tutorial video that introduces this course to you, I talked about how important it is to have text. However, it is also important in many cases to do research, to do prep work of many different kinds, some of which is research, some of which is actually applied stuff. So when you go down towards the bottom here on the Wixtrix blog, you will see a list that says students' work from the past 2 years, and you should look at all of these. They are really nice, and I should also add that this is almost all of the work that was done by students over the past 2 years, as you can see by the amount of names on this list. That's already pretty obvious. I only selected a few of them that are different types of prep work or research that people did to show you what I mean. Now, the first one that we have here was made by a student called Arda, whose last name unfortunately I don't have on record and I can't remember. He made a very big website, a very extensive website about Northern mythology, Norse myths, and he has a number of links here, and when you scroll down you can see that he did a considerable amount of research on this topic. Now obviously he was interested in this to begin with, and he already knew quite a bit to begin with, but that was not enough, and he actually had to add to what he knew by going on the internet, dipping into all kinds of websites, sometimes even using Google Translate to translate from Nordic languages, because he felt that there was something interesting there that he needed to find out about. And so let me just quickly go over the all of the links to see the amount of research and writing that Arda did to create this very substantial resource on Nordic legends. He did this in English. He could also have done it in Turkish, but he chose to do it in English. And so that's the first one that I wanted to show you. Now the second one was made by a student called Ayşegül Rana Erdemli, a cat lover who already knew quite a bit about cats, obviously, but she also did a very substantial amount of research in order to add to what she knew and what she loved about cats. She also inserted videos, and she also linked videos from YouTube. So the first tab is cats and humans. The second one is cats in art, and then she has a bunch of subcategories where she's talking about cats in the movies, in literature, TV, painting. Then there's a link with sub-pages on mythology, and there's one that is specifically about Egyptian mythology, which is not surprising. Again, she researched all of this. Some she knew, but most she actually researched. Cats in history. So there are royal cats, apparently, that she found out about. And then she also found out about cat lovers in history. So Muhammad is very prominent. Gandhi, Katerina, Lincoln, Lenin, Florence Nightingale, these were big cat lovers, apparently. And then she also has cat cities, because there are some cities in the world that are very famous for their love of cats. Istanbul is, of course, top of the list, as anybody who lives in Istanbul will already know, but then there are others as well. Now let's continue to this. Now this is something quite different. Here the research is not really so much research as it is prep work. Now this is a website that was made by Gülfem 2 years ago, and it is about student cooking for students. The sorts of things that students can cook with very narrow means, in a small kitchen, with limited equipment, and so on and so forth. And what Gülfem did is she actually prepared all of these dishes. So I'm just going to click on one to show you. We have the recipe, we have the ingredients, we have the recipe, and then all of these photographs were taken by her, because she actually cooked this, tested it, and then took the photographs of the process of while she was cooking it, and she did that for all of them. So let me just go back here. And so she has quite a long list of all these things that she cooked. Now this was during the 2020 COVID lockdown, so she was sitting at home and she had plenty of time to do this, but she actually did a tremendous amount of work, which is not so much research. She already knew how to cook these things, but it is about preparing things. Next up is Ezgi's website, which is a research into fashion, which is separated into fashion, beauty, and hairstyles. And she broke the past 100 years or 150 years or so into different time spans. And then you can access these from here individually if you want to. And she made these very interesting collages, which is how she shows it. But then there's also an alternative way of looking at all of this, which is more in the nature of research, where she is actually writing about these things and what happened there. And something interesting about Ezgi's site, which is not only very beautiful but also very well researched, is that Ezgi actually had a lot of ideas about what the history of fashion was, and she was strangely surprised that some of the things that she had taken for granted, that she assumed that they were like that, actually turned out to be quite different. So this class also turned out to be a learning experience for her in that regard, that she actually learned some really new things about a subject that she thought that she actually already knew quite a lot. So the next one is actually a site called Kalıcı, which means permanent, and it's about tattooing. And it's about how when you enter professional life, you may end up getting into trouble because of the tattoos that you got when you were a student or when you were younger. So this was done by Tolga and last year. And what Tolga did is he actually conducted interviews with people. So he has these uploaded into YouTube. So let's just listen in.
Merhabalar. Bugün Şeniz Akkaya ile beraberiz. Merhabalar Şeniz Hanım.
So this is like a 7-minute long video where this lady here is sharing her experiences about her tattoos and her professional life, and then he has quite a list here, as you can see. So his research was actually interviewing people and finding out about people's experiences with their tattoos in professional life. So that is what this website, the research of this website is all about, and there's a tremendous amount of prep work. He had to make all these appointments, he had to find the people. First of all, he didn't know all of these people. Some of them were recommended by others. He had to make appointments and then keep them and edit the videos and all kinds of things like that. So it's an interesting way of preparing material for a website, which is actually very, very interesting. So now let's continue on to Kaan's website. This was made in 2020, and Kaan is a guitarist, and so he made a website about electric guitars. And what he did is, some of this you already knew, obviously, but quite a bit of it he also researched and added on to what you already knew. But then Kaan made videos where he himself talked and introduced the subject, or so there he is talking about, this is the first one, it's called Guitar 101. And then there are quite a few of these videos in other places as well. Not this one here, where he is talking about all kinds of different accessories and effects and how to colorize a guitar and all kinds of things. But then he also has this final link here which says, I want to play guitar, where he actually directs you to another site. So he has a little intro here, which is about 5 minutes long. And as you can see, he's a really cute guy too, so that helps as well, where he talks about the subject. But then he made a second website during this class, which is called the Riff Factory, and you can do this with distortion on or off. Then he has all of these different things where he is showing different riff styles and also talking about how they are actually accomplished. So, and here he is actually directing people back to the original site. Now finally, we have this one here that I want to show you, which is actually a travel diary. Selen went to Korea as an exchange student the year before, and she had collected a lot of material while she was in Korea because she's a photographer, and so she likes to have big, kind of like a big photographic diary. And what she did is she actually gave us an enormously researched and detailed and beautifully documented with her own photographs. All of these photographs are her own photographs about what Korea is all about. First she's talking about, in this particular one, it's Seoul, which is the city where she was actually based. Different areas of Seoul, what you can eat, what you can buy, where you can go, the historic things, and then she's also telling us a bit about some other cities that she went to. Then there's a link which says, which is about what you can do in Korea, historic places. The cherry flower festivals apparently are a big thing there, just like they are in Japan. Shopping, she has a whole big thing about shopping, because and karaoke, because these are big things in Korea, apparently, which I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know about the karaoke. I did assume that Koreans would want to do shopping as much as all other people. And then food. Then she has one big link about food, about Korean food. And as you can see, this is a real tour de force of research and documentation. So, which is not to say that all of the other sites that we have here in this list down here are not as nice as the ones that I showed you, or not as well researched. I just picked the ones that are typical in a specific kind of way. So a lot of them follow the same idea of research or documentation or making videos and all kinds of things. So you should look at all of them to get an idea about what the sort of work that this class actually entails. And it's quite a bit, I have to say. But in the past years, the students have come up trumps. They've done really beautiful work. And like I said, I want to repeat this is very important. Not many classes and not many instructors can boast about being able to show all the work that was done in their class. Now usually you will have 2 or 3 really nice things that are exceptions, and then the mediocre work, it will not get shown in an instructor's portfolio. In this VA 333 class, there has been no mediocre work, or very, very, very little. So 90% of the work that came out of this class, which is what you can see right here, has actually been very, very impressive. I have been impressed with the work that the students did, and rightly so. So that's all about research and prep work. It could be both combined, or it could be one or the other. But in any case, there is quite a bit of work outside of just sitting down and designing a website involved in this class. That's the actual core of this class, is actually the content, more so than the design. And you should be aware of that before you decide to continue.